right, so welcome everyone. Good morning, evening, or good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. And welcome to day 3 of Canny's Climate Action Week. Today is the second session of our session on empowering green advocates of students driving sustainability action. So for this session, we're going to have Nenie Tamariska Patricia, Anne Ivy Cabanero, and Kristin Klipka talk about their journeys towards sustainability as students. And so before all that, before we go into the session, for those of you who aren't yet familiar with Canny, just let me tell you a little bit about Canny. So Canny was founded in 2019, and we are a 100% volunteer-run organization. So we have a global board with representation from international educators all around the world. And currently we have regional chapters in the Europe, Americas, and Oceania. We also have global working groups, like, for example, this Climate Action Week was formed through the coordination of a global working group. And the purpose of Canny is for us to advance climate action in the international education sector. And Canny has been, in its 5 years, it's been already, it already has earned some awards, as you can see here. And also we now have, I think it's now over 800 practitioners from several institutions globally. And we have already 65 plus Canny Accord signatories. So the Canny Accord is set of commitments that institutions, universities, or other organizations sign and commit to further climate action. These signatories include NAFSA, EAIE, and Universitas 21. You can go to our website to view or to read more about the Canny Accord. And again, Canny is an organization that is free to join. So if you want to join and be able to network with fellow professionals, international education practitioners, and also fellow students, such as ourselves, you can visit canny.org/join and just sign up. And again, since we are a volunteer-run organization, this events wouldn't be possible without the support of our sponsors, such as University of Tasmania. I'll just play a short video from University of Tasmania.
How do I feel about the sustainability agenda? Passionate but impatient. As fast as we go, we've always got to be going faster. My colleagues are doing remarkable things, but every time we do a remarkable thing, I know we've got to do more because we have to solve this now.
The University of Tasmania has a very clear, holistic sustainability agenda. We have embedded it into our overall strategic plan for the university. It has its own framework for sustainability that encompasses 4 main areas of activity that are to be taken into account in all of our decision-making and activities.
The projects we choose always deliver additional environmental and social co-benefits, for example, biodiversity protection, or the creation of jobs for local communities.
All right. And our other sponsor is Alethea Global, which is a worker cooperative and sustainability training consultancy, built by members with relevant international education experience and knowledge to support the required transformation for a more equitable, climate conscious, and sustainable sector. Here are some words from CJ Tremblay, the founder and managing director of Alethea Global Cooperative, and also one of the founding members of Canny. And for those of you who have the capacity to, and your organizations or your institutions, please help support our work by going to canny.org/donate. And again, we have, well, since we're on the 3rd day, we have still a remaining session on an interactive workshop for COP28 reflections and COP29 preparations, which is happening in about 2 hours for the first session. And also tomorrow, or March 28th, Thursday, we're going to have regional meetings from each of the chapters. All right, so, and well, it looks like we're an intimate group today, so please feel free to engage in the chat and also to connect with our fellow students and practitioners. And welcome to Ainsley Moore. Ainsley is our Canny president. Hi, Ainsley.
Hello, sorry I'm late.
No worries. I just finished the introductions, and I was mentioning that we are quite an intimate group today. So for everyone to feel free to engage with our speakers and, in the chat. All right. So would you like to say a few things, Ainsley? Okay. All right. So I'll hand it off to our speakers, Kristin Klipka, Anna Ivy Cabanera, and Nenie Tamariska Patricia.
Hi. Hello. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone joining. So my name is Anne, and well, welcome again to the third day of Climate Action Week. I'm not sure if you or the other participants have joined from the other two sessions of the first 2 days, but I hope you enjoy that. So today, my co-presenters or my co-facilitators, Kristin and Nenie, will be presenting simple ways that would bring considerable impact in building community resilience to climate change, as well as this is also our way of inspiring green advocates out there. Kristin, Nenie, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Kristin Klipka. I want to say thank you for inviting me to speak. This is such a cool organization. And I was the former president of the St. Louis University Madrid Environment Club, and I'm excited to talk. So, yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Nenie. I'm studying at the same university with Anne in Otago Polytechnic, and yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. Yeah, for our presentation today. Looking forward for it. Yeah.
Yeah. But before we go to the presentation, us three actually, Kristin and Nenie, um we have a little game we actually wanted to do today, but then, well, it's actually better because it's will only allow 10 participants to join the game. So you are free, you are welcome to join, Vanessa and Kristin as well, and Nenie as well. Well, not me. But yeah, so this is a Kahoot game. It is gonna be really gonna be very quick, but at the end of this little game, we have a little prize that I hope whoever is going to be the winner would appreciate it a lot. So Nenie, you can share your screen, and then it would be nice if you can join using your mobile phone, because that would be quicker and easier. Okay. Okay, you just have to scan the code and oh, where's the code?
Can you see my screen?
Oh yeah, we can see your screen. Okay, there.
Just scan the barcode.
Just scan it. So
yeah.
I like the sound. Okay, I think we only have Bridget, not on here, and okay, there. Let's see, because there's only a couple of us.
Anyone else?
I think everyone has joined already. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start the game.
Okay, start the game now. Good luck, everyone. This is an easy one. Remember, there's a prize at the end of this.
Hey, question for you. What are some of the largest living things on our planet? I'll give you a hint. They're all over the world, and maybe in your own back.
Oh, wow. Everybody got it right. Let's see who got it first. Okay. Sharon, is this? Okay. Okay. Why is our climate becoming warmer? Wow, everyone is competitive. Everybody's getting it right.
That's fast though. Very fast.
Yeah.
It is 80 degrees under my friend here.
Oh, wow. Okay, this one is double points. So, how do trees help keep our planet from warming?
Trees have the ability to sequester or store this carbon dioxide. But how does that work exactly? Let's go to animation to explain. The way trees make food for themselves is through a process called photosynthesis. Trees use the power of the sun to combine carbon dioxide, or CO2, and water into cellulose, which makes up wood, branches, and roots. That means that carbon in the form of cellulose is locked away throughout the tree's lifetime and can't turn back into CO2 in our atmosphere. Just one mature tree can sequester as much as 48 pounds of carbon per year. That keeps carbon out of the atmosphere and prevents.
Oh, we only have 3 answers. Let's see. Correct answers. And who's leading? Wow, Van! Vanessa, good job. 5 more questions and okay.
As our climate continues to change, we're not only seeing hotter temperatures,
Oh, this
but
is
we're
very
also
easy.
seeing more severe.
Ah, wow, everybody got it right. Okay.
As our climate continues to change, we're not only seeing hotter temperatures, but we're also seeing more severe storms.
Wow, 6,312 and 3 more questions to go. This one is double points again.
Storms bring with them bigger waves that are eroding our coastlines. And that's leaving many island nations very vulnerable. There's hope, though.
Cute. Ah. Okay, there's still a chance. 2 more questions. 2 more left. Go Vanessa, go Kristin. You really have to be fast doing this. Oh, wow.
I love the idea of planting more trees, but older, larger trees actually store a lot more carbon than young trees. So it's important that we not only plant new.
And let's see. Oh, the last question is double points. So
Of tree death. Because of climate change, scientists are documenting longer and harsher droughts, more severe outbreaks of insect.
okay, let's see who the winner is. Number 3, okay, Van. 2 is Christy. Oh, Christy. Number 1 is. Oh, wait. Is Christy? Oh, okay. This is Ainsley, right?
I think it's as expected that Ainsley would
Yeah.
would win this.
Oh,
As the chair of
congratulations.
Kenny.
Yeah. We'll be revealing your prize before the end of the session, and I hope that you will like it.
I'm not
So
sure that
just
it's
watch out
appropriate
for
for me to win the prize, though.
But congratulations. It was a quick game, but it was really interesting. I didn't actually know the questions until this morning. So, yeah. But okay, we can go to the presentation now. And I think it's going to be Kristin is going to be doing it first. Kristin,
Yeah.
let me just share my screen.
Okay, perfect.
Can you see the screen now?
No, not quite.
Okay, hold on a sec.
Cool. Yeah, now we can see it. Thank you, Anne. So as previously stated, I'm Kristin Klipka, and today I'm going to be talking about some strategies I use to drive up student campus engagement for sustainability initiatives, specifically at St. Louis University, Madrid, which is an American university that is in Madrid, Spain. So it fits very well with Canny because we have a lot of international and study abroad students come to our campus each semester, which definitely creates an interesting dynamic for getting student engagement for sustainability initiatives and considering the impact of international studies on, international students and studying on climate change and in terms of like carbon footprint and stuff. So yeah, go ahead and go to the next slide. A little bit about me. I graduated from St. Louis University, Madrid last May with my bachelor's degree in international politics and Spanish, but I started attending the school in 2021, which is when the Environment Club kind of was born with our faculty advisor and member of Canny, Monica Perez Bedmar. And so before I talk about some strategies we used, I thought it'd be useful to give just like a little bit of context to where we began, which was kind of still in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. There were a lot of mask restrictions and meeting regulations and stuff on campus. So we had a lot of trouble engaging students on campus and getting them to participate. In general, people had bigger things to worry, or maybe not bigger things, but people had a lot of things to worry about. So their awareness about climate change was a little bit low, just anecdotally, like talking to students or in terms of what would be brought up in different classes and that kind of thing. And as a student body, we just didn't really know what our university was up to in terms of sustainability initiatives, if they had a climate action plan, if they were doing things like phasing out plastic, or if they were just kind of ignoring it. We just didn't know. So that picture there is from one of our first events. It was later in the semester in the spring of 2021. So we had 5 or 6 students show up to a hike in a park in Madrid. But I think our first event that we actually did, we had me and one other student total show up to like watch a documentary. So we really started out just with a long ways to go and a lot of ways that we could grow. So yeah, those were kind of our 3 like impact areas that we decided to focus on as an organization. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So the first thing we kind of focused on was building student engagement, and something that really helped us kind of come up with different plans and planning out activities was figuring out how to incentivize student participation. So like I said, we kind of started out and it was hard to get students to show up to things and to really care. So we started thinking about it in terms of internal versus external motivators. So building the internal motivation to want to engage in climate activism and to care about sustainability and to like reduce your carbon footprint in the first place versus like external motivators, which we used as kind of like the bait to get people engaged. So like having free food at events, getting professors to offer extra credit for showing up to our more educational activities, that kind of thing, proved to be really effective in getting people to come to some of our events and be like, oh, like this can actually be fun. And I actually feel really fulfilled when I do climate activism. Another strategy that was really effective was collaborating with other clubs and faculty. We really reached out to any student organization that was willing to like co-sponsor an event with us, from Human Rights Club to talk about climate and humanitarian issues, to art club to like go paint in the park, and can just connect with nature that way. And then the third thing that was really important when programming out activities was coming up with a diverse range of activities for different physical abilities as well as financial and emotional, as well as just like making it accessible. So we had like some really casual events where we'd do like trivia on campus, but then we'd have more involved events where we'd go hike. And so overall, just to kind of like summarize our strategies, we focused on activities that connected students to nature, which I think was really important, because Madrid is a pretty urban place. So when students think about climate change, you know, a lot of people initially think about like saving the polar bears, which is like very far away from where we were. So getting students to like see where we are now and to like want to protect their own backyard and kind of take ownership of the place that they were in, even if they were only in Madrid for a semester, was like very important to us. Plus, some people just haven't had exposure to like be able to go to parks and stuff. So just getting people to care that way, and then building knowledge about different issues. And then another really important strategy was coming up with activities that made students feel empowered to make a difference in climate change. A lot of people I talked to like knew about climate change as an abstract concept, but really felt like there was nothing they could do or just didn't know how to enter into that kind of world. So coming up with activities that would kind of give them a taste of like all the different ways that they can make a difference was really important. And making sure that they knew it wasn't hopeless, that there's still time to make a big difference in terms of reducing your carbon footprint and that kind of thing. So yeah, next slide, please. Can I switch it? No. Thank you. So this is just a picture of us going out to plant some trees. The picture on the left is my favorite because it's a student from New York City who has never really engaged with nature before, and she's holding a worm for the very first time because this is the first time she's gardened or anything like that. And you can just kind of see she's delighted, and we got her to do that and she became like a regular club member. So it was just really cool to see different students kind of engage with the local areas of Madrid. Yeah, so next slide, please. Our next sort of impact area that we tried to focus on was increasing overall campus awareness and doing different conscious raising activities to get the general student body engaged and wanting to care about climate activism. So something that was kind of important to that was confronting different misconceptions about what it means to be involved in climate change. I ran into a lot of people who thought it was like just planting trees or really just focusing on like one type of issue, or they kind of have the stereotype of like a 70s like hippie tree hugger when they thought of like a climate activist. So it was just kind of important to show that like you could be any way you want when engaging in climate activism. You just got to like get involved. That's like the most important thing. And so we also tried to emphasize intersectionality in our conscious raising events. So somebody from like me from Colorado in the United States is impacted very differently by climate change than somebody maybe in Kenya, and just how different socioeconomic circumstances can impact how you're how you're affected and like what you can do. It was just important for us to acknowledge all the different ways that climate change impacts us, and also how you can like make a difference using who you are and that kind of thing. And then also, I think our most effective strategy to build campus awareness was just to build connections with other student organizations, like I mentioned, but also just like watching people make friends while they engaged in climate activism, and like finding joy in learning about these kind of things and imagining like a better future and that kind of thing. So our three main strategies for this were hosting lots of discussions and debates, and engaging with people who really didn't know a lot, and just being willing to engage in conversation with them. A really consistent campus presence. So when we programmed out events, we had like 2 events per month, so that we were just always doing something that students could participate in. We also attacked it from like a wide range of areas. We had a strong social media presence. We sent out a sustainability tip of the week in the school newspaper or newsletter, so that people could reduce their carbon footprint that way. We published articles in the school newspaper. We really tried to think of anywhere we'd see students and just trying to figure out how we could be visible to them so that they'd start thinking about climate activism more. And then finally, our last strategy was trying to expose them to both local and global issues. So when we planned local activities, we wanted them to, like I mentioned previously, like really take ownership of being in Madrid and the sustainability issues that were impacting that city, so that they'd care a little bit more there. And then also to think about how climate change like impacts the world at large, and how you can make a difference on little areas and big areas, depending on how much time you have and all those kinds of things. So yeah, next slide, please. These are just some examples. This was like an Instagram post we made for Climate Action Week. We hosted in coordination with like the COP20, I think it was 27 that year. So we had like 5 events in 5 days that ranged from like a debate to a documentary to doing a little meditation event in the park, just to like show people that we were there and like get people talking about it. We did a lot of documentary showings because those are very easy to set up. And then that last picture is of our faculty advisor, Monica, presenting to international and study abroad students about like the impact of international and study abroad students in terms of like carbon footprint and stuff, so that they could think of more sustainable ways to do weekend travel, because Madrid is a great location to travel from. So we had a lot of students excited about that. So we tried really hard to meet them where they were for that. Next slide, please. Cool. And so our last real impact area was moving beyond just campus awareness to really getting the university to take action at a bigger level and a more targeted level. So we really focused on building transparency with administration, so we could like know what our current climate impact was, and like if there was a plan for the future. This was a lot of Monica's doing, but we also tried to collaborate beyond the science department in terms of increasing climate literacy. So talking to political science and business professors about sustainability, and incorporating that into the curriculum, or even just having more organic discussions about it in class and stuff like that. And then really just trying to imagine a sustainable future. So in a perfect world, what would we like the university to be doing, so that we could kind of build out a climate action plan from there. And so our 3 main strategies for that were demonstrating to administration, especially, that there was student and faculty buy-in, so students and faculty like both really care about sustainability and want to see it in their classes and want to see consistent action for it. As well as persistence and patience. Change takes time, especially at a bureaucratic level. So just being willing to like engage in conversations, even when they're hard or long, was kind of how we were able to make headway on that. Next slide, please. And so just to conclude where we kind of ended up, at least when I graduated last year in May of 2023, we had really consistent student participation in environment club activities. We're able to fundraise for humanitarian causes consistently. We had this picture is from a hike we did. So we had over 20 people show up to a hike, which our school is pretty small. So having 20 plus students at an event is a pretty big deal. And we also, because we were so successful in increasing campus awareness, there's a lot of diverse sustainability initiatives going on now. There's a garden club that will go grow their own food and then sell produce at a little mini farmer's market at our university. So making groceries more sustainable. I believe that some of the professors are co-sponsoring a sustainability observatory, specifically focusing on the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN. And there's lots of collaborations with like the Human Rights Club or the Black Student Organization to fundraise for different types of humanitarian causes, as well as just some of the normal activities that Environment Club does, like going on a hike and some of the other things that I mentioned. So it's really exciting how it's kind of grown. And then finally, I think the coolest thing that our university has done recently is they are a Canny Accord signatory, so they now have a climate action plan and have committed to being sustainable in the future, and just like incorporating that into their curriculum and increasing climate literacy as like a goal. So yeah, that's all I have to say. So thanks for listening, and I'll pass it on now to, I think Nenie is talking next, or Anne, whoever it is, it'll be amazing. So yeah.
Kristin,
Thank
for your
you,
presentation.
Kristin.
It is really interesting and right?
Yeah,
Very interesting
totally.
for you.
Yeah, I would totally agree to that. Actually, Nenie and I has a different presentation, and then when we collaborated of how we wanted to present our presentations, we kind of like talk and see who's doing this and who's doing that, or what type of presentations are we going to be doing. So through this, we get to learn different perspectives as well, and learn things from what they do in Madrid. And everything that Kristin has discussed is, we know, Nenie and I both know that's going to be applicable as well in our school. And Nenie will be starting our presentation for
Yeah.
this one.
Thank you, Anne, for your time. Yeah. Okay. Directly to the second slide. Next slide. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, so I think our campus background is a little bit similar. We are hosting mostly international students, and which is for us, it is undeniable that we are contributing to flight emission as well. So in dealing with this situation, the smallest action that we took in 2023 was calculating our emission to get the understanding in which scope that we spend the most significant emission. So for us, this is starting point, a good starting point in which every step that we take, it is just one step forward for a greener, more resilient world. And the result will be helpful for us, for campus, to initiate offsetting program. One of the program is reforestation that will be presented by Anne later on. Next slide. Thank you. Yes. Oh, I think, yes, this one. So in doing the measurement, we use standard ISO standard based on 14064, which includes our scope 1, 2, and 3. As you can see here, from my assessment, our scope 2 includes electricity, and our scope 3 covers commuting activities and business travel. So based on the analysis, this diagram shows that our scope 3 emission on 2022 is really huge. And next slide. Yeah, so this is the breakdown of my calculation before. So as you can see here, commuting or travel commuter travel. In total, we spend like more than 120 tons of carbon dioxide. So, but there's another important thing here. As I mentioned before, international campus, we cannot deny that we are contributing to international flight. So we also calculate another category which is not included in scope 1, 2, and 3, but we want to calculate it to know how we can offset it. So this figure is the total number of emission produced from our international student flight to Auckland to study in our campus, which is more than 3,000 tons of carbon dioxide, which shows significant number. Next slide. Yes, thank you. And it shows that 54% of our students coming from India, which is contribute to the highest carbon dioxide of flight emission, followed by China. And knowing this huge number, it assures us to take action. So what are the initiatives that we have done currently? So at least we have 3 initiatives. This slide, yes. And the first one, the really important one, is promoting energy conservation. That's an important one. So we are doing this initiative by encouraging our students to turn off the light when they finish using restroom and also conserve water. So why is it important? Conserving water saves energy, and energy is needed to filter, to heat, and pump water to your home, to our campus as well. So to reducing water consumption, also reduce our carbon footprint as well. And another thing that we've done is promoting public transportation. On my research that I've done before, I found out that 30% of our students are using private vehicle. So this is interesting. The reason is that because they used to drive their own vehicle back then in their home country before moving to New Zealand, in which the fact that almost of our students coming from developing country where public transportation is not commonly used. So to encourage us, it encouraged us to prepare for conducting carbon literacy program to teach about sustainability and also including promoting sustainable commuting. And the last one is reforestation project. So we found this is a good project, a good way also to offset our emission using a very meaningful action. And this is one of the biggest initiatives that we've done in collaboration with Green Office Toitū and also our campus, Otago Polytechnic. This is called Originated Reforestation Project. This will be presented by Anne. And you're still
I'm muted again. Okay, I'm bad at this one. Hello, thank you, Nenie, for your presentation. But as Nenie mentioned earlier, this reforestation project is one of the biggest initiatives that our campus is actually participated into. We were just so lucky enough that our campus is really into sustainability, that even though that it was kind of like hard for us to start the initiative, but then we were able to do so. But then before that, we kind of like ensure that, oh hey, I'm part of this school, and we've identified that we've had a carbon footprint from moving into this country. And then when we started school, then we realized, and then the school has let us know that it's important for us to mitigate to help mitigate climate change and to offset our carbon footprint. So from there, Nenie and we were actually like thinking of ways on how we are going to to offset our carbon footprint, and we've resolved it into 3, and this one is the biggest one that we did. So here you can see on this slide, you'll see numbers of actually native trees that is equivalent to, or the number of trees that you can plant that would actually help mitigate your carbon emissions. So say, for example, a return flight from Auckland to Wellington. So that's an equivalent of one native tree. And then if we go farther from Auckland to Sydney, that's going to be 4 native trees. And then a little bit more farther from Auckland to London. So that's the 34 native trees. And if you are in a household and you uses 1 year electricity is around 8,000 kilowatt per hour. So that's an equivalent of 3,000, equivalent of three native trees. So before we did this, we actually have a little bit of telling to the students as to why we are planting trees. So we presented to them the results of the survey that we did and the results of everything that we've calculated. And then we've seen that through this initiative, we'll be able to help really mitigate carbon, our carbon, or um, help mitigate climate change. So the our projects initiative is actually to establish a self-sustaining entirely native forest in the next 10 years. So it's quite a long journey for us. This is going to be spanning 25 hectares, designed to serve as a thriving habitat for native bird species while functioning as a long-term and effective carbon sink. So we understand that it's a really big area, but we've also considered a lot of factors before we actually jump into doing the reforestation project. And since the area is a 25-hectare property and it's located in Wahi, which is actually situated in the Coromandel-Pahuketawa ecological zone, and moving to the Pariri zone, which is actually coastal area. One of the biggest factor that we considered is the climate. Why is that? Because based on our research, the average temperature that the area is actually getting in a year is around 14 degrees Celsius, and the average rain that they get is around 224 millimeter. The wind in the area averages from 16.2 kilometers per hour, and the humidity is at 81%. So with that, we didn't only look into that part, but we also ensured that if we are going to plant trees, these trees that we'll be planting would actually survive and thrive for years to come. So we ensure that they're going to be able to tolerate salt spray. They're going to tolerate the wind speed in the area, and drought as well, because that's inevitable, and then waterlogging. So with that, we have carefully chosen the list of trees that are native in the area. So when we were doing this, when we were asking students to actually participate in this endeavor, we would explain to them as to why we're actually choosing to plant native trees in the area. So we've told them that the reason as to why native trees is because if you're just going to plant any trees in the area that are not native, there's a greater possibility that they won't survive for a long time. They won't grow as big as they should be. And since smaller trees really cannot sequester a lot of carbon, so we aim to ensure that these trees are going to last for 50 years or even 100 years, and 4 generations to come. So with this, the list you can see in here, this is actually the trees that we've already planted and we've started planting for the first 3 years. So we have actually considered the growth rate of the trees as well. So most of the trees that we've planted for the first 3 years are the ones that would grow fast, and with the characteristics of obviously going to attract biodiversity, because New Zealand's biodiversity is really just mostly birds. And then, of course, would tolerate boggy soil. And we've also considered the topographic position of where we're planting this one, since it's in a rolling hill, it's in near coastal area. And as well as we want to ensure that in 3 years time, because they are growing fast, all of these trees and shrubs is going to be able to serve as a canopy to the next batch of trees that we're going to be planting in 3 years time. So these trees are what we call the giant ones. So the same as the previous trees that we have started to plant there. These ones are the big ones. This is a combination of, in terms of growth rate, the combination of fast and not too fast in terms of growing, but in terms of the characteristics, we've ensured that they would attract as well the native birds in the area and would tolerate boggy soil. So currently, we have already planted around 12,300, and we actually aim to plant around 2,500 native trees and shrubs per year for the next 10 years. And if and when we are able to do that, we are expecting to get the results of having around 37,300 trees and shrubs in 12 years. And then with after that, in 50 years time, if all of these trees that we've planted are able to grow into big trees and become full grown, we'll be able to sequester around 10,327 tons of carbon, which is actually um a big amount to help contribute in mitigating climate change. So as we go along, we just didn't plant trees, but we also let the students, especially because our campus is focused on international students, we let them know the results of what we are expecting and where we are at, so they become more encouraged as to, to participate and do tree planting activities with us. Because I understand, as Kristin has mentioned earlier in her presentation, it's not actually an easy task to ask people to join, to let them know. But if you tell them, or if you educate them and let them become aware of what's the impact, or what the impact is going to be for our generations and for generations to come, then we get more people to participate and do this kind of endeavor. And not just that, too, we've also taught them more reasons as to plant trees, which would increase biodiversity. I mean, who wouldn't love birds chirping in the middle of the day? So yeah. And then also reduce soil erosion in the area, because there's a local community in the area, a local Iwi that lives around the area, so they're going to be protected as well if we help reduce erosion, or we improve the soil stability. And to top it all, the engagement for international student, as well as part of our sustainability learning, because most of these international students moved in here and would lived here for good. So it's just us, being new to the country, or being somebody who moved into this country to take part into ensuring that the planet or the country that we live in would actually survive any um climate issues that we're going to be facing in, I don't know, in the coming months or in the coming years, or if ever we do face any storm or cyclones or like that. So we kind of like made sure that every single time we would post in our newsletters, we would do sustainability activities as well. So we have Green Office Toitū with that. So we do initiatives every now and then. We do tree planting every now and then, just to encourage more people to, you know, to take care of the environment that they're currently living in. And also we aim to not just do this in this country, but also for international students to replicate this to their home country once they come back. And we always would believe that this kind of effort is a continued collective effort, not only by one individual, but also by a whole community. So there. And the next slide will be showing you, these are some of the pictures that we've taken during our little activity. So it's actually kind of interesting, because the place where we would actually plant is like around 3 hours away from the city. So asking people to come and wake up early in the morning, because we're going to be driving towards there, it's really tough, it's really hard, unless if you have a little bit of an incentive at the end of the day once they come home. So we would really go and participate. But I think the most important thing that we would normally, or we never miss to ask the students, is that what have you learned when you joined this activity? What have you learned, or what was your key takeaway, or are you going to be doing it again, or what do you think can we do to improve it? And they would gladly let us know what they felt or how it changed their perspective, especially towards protecting their environment that they currently lived in. And I think one of the key takeaway that we got into this initiative is that no matter how big your effort is, regardless how big or small that is, or wherever your country you come from, for as long as you do something meaningful that could help not just yourself but the other people around you as well in the environment that you live in, that would matter, or that's the best thing that you could do. So yeah, so that's our little story of how we came up with all of these initiatives. And we are still, this is an ongoing initiative. Actually, we have 10 years to go. So that's a long time. So yes, and here, so we wanted to also ask everyone who participated, what are the initiatives? What are the initiatives that you are working on, or probably you've worked on in the past that you think have worked, or if there's any challenges that you've faced doing this, what did work or like that, or what motivated you to actually do things related to climate change. So this is an open discussion and collaboration, so feel free to share your thoughts, and if you do have questions, just you can let us know too.
Thank you, Anne, Nenie, and Kristin for your presentations. Yeah, so again, we're quite an intimate group, so please feel free to share if you want, or you have any questions. I just want to acknowledge that you guys both mentioned like tree planting activities, and one of the sessions that we've had this past week of Climate Action Week was on eco-anxiety. I'm not sure if you were able to attend that or watch the recording yet, but one of the interesting points that was brought up by Dr. Leticia was that most people, they learn more when they're in a green environment. So kind of like there's a lot of going on nature walks, like what Kristin was mentioning about going on hikes. It helps for people to kind of embed that knowledge more into their systems, or so it's nice that it's all connected in that way.
Yeah, I totally agree to that.
Mhm.
Okay, I think we're running out of time, but then, Douglas, I think Douglas has something to
Yeah,
say.
thanks so
He's
much.
raising his hand.
I'm really sorry that I was late to this session. I had
No,
to
that's
cycle
all right.
home and didn't quite get here for the start. So I'm sorry that I missed all of the speakers. I suppose I'm really interested in the student feedback that you have from these initiatives. So I used to work, my current institution, which you can see flagged behind me here, does not have an active program of student engagement in sustainability matters. But at my last institution, we'd taken some first steps to kind of, follow up on student feedback and develop some kind of guidelines and resources, but we had nothing as ambitious as this initiative. So I'm really interested in the kind of student feedback that you have had or are collecting along the way, because I think that will then really be the litmus test for other institutions to know that this is something that students really value and see and are talking to their peers about. Yeah, and again, it might be too early, but for all of the speakers, maybe if there's anything that you can share about student feedback.
Do you want to share, Kristin, from your end?
Yeah, I definitely didn't have anything quite as ambitious as your project either. I think our approach was, in terms of student feedback, we would ask at the end of every activity, like, what did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? And just kind of mostly informally take that in terms of planning for our next initiative. And then when we moved more towards demonstrating like student buy-in for administration to kind of move the needle on climate action, I think where our feedback really came in handy is that we used it in order to build a bigger base and a bigger amount of students who were engaged with us, to then kind of demonstrate like how, like you mentioned, Douglas, like how we're effective and how we have litmus tests going in terms of student participation. So we started with like 2 students coming to events and ended up with events of like 20 plus to 40 plus students, which was pretty exciting. So that's pretty much what I have to say.
Well, for us, at OPEC, at first, actually really tricky as well. But then we started with 3 four actually, and then we've grown from there. But I think the most feedback that we've got from students is they are interested, but I think the time that they could join to do the planting, it's a little bit tricky, because especially the location where this tree planting thing we're doing is, it's far. It's not the same as the one like Kristin has mentioned, that within the city of Madrid. Ours is like 3 hours away from the city. That's only one way, so it takes a lot of effort to come into to the place. Plus, with everybody not having the same schedule and all that, so it's kind of tricky for us to would always organize an event that would allow us to actually bring a whole bunch of students to go there and do the tree planting activity. But from all of these students that have joined, mostly their feedback is that if we could do it as often as we can. But the only problem that we're facing is, in New Zealand there's only like a limited time to do the tree planting, normally during the autumn season, and then the first few weeks of or first week or few weeks of winter. And then after that, we kind of like wait for another cycle for next year. So we just do the seedlings and all that. But then for the next coming year, we would go back there again and do the planting activity. And then the part wherein I think that in terms of the trees, because we are planting native trees, we don't, as I've mentioned, we don't normally just plant normal trees. These are the ones that are really native to the area, so we have to source them either from a nursery or from people who actually would have seedlings. So it's kind of like difficult, but we were able to do it somehow. And students would always say that maybe we should have like a bigger, probably like a bus, so everyone could come and everybody's gonna be free when you come in there, because we have to pay for fuel and all that, and we're all international students, so we totally understand that. So yeah, but in terms of feedback, I think that we've made a lot of impact, because students are more interested now into doing this, because we're going to be having one soon. So we're hoping to get more than 10 participants this time around, and we're hoping to get more trees to be able to plant now on the next planting activity that we're going to be doing. So yeah.
Cool, thanks so much. I suppose one of the dilemmas is that then international students are necessarily transitory. They're only there for a period of time. And for a really long time scale project like yours, actually kind of getting them to engage with that. One of the tips that I've seen, so I plant trees through a local charity here in Australia, and they send me photos of my trees. Like every year or something. So again, like it's just a simple thing. You're planting in a particular location. Maybe there's a way of actually building a continuity for those people over a period of time. Now, again, that's hard to do. That needs resourcing as well. But it's that connection between I planted, and we know that when you plant native trees in this country, in Australia, that actually they don't all survive. Like you plant 10, maybe only 4 survive. That's the nature of planting. But again, I think that's part of the learning process that comes through it. Sorry. Anyway, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And yes, you're totally correct. It's not always going to be like they're going to grow, So we have to keep planting and planting. But I think that if we start this initiative and all the upcoming students would continue to do so, then I think that we've made that impact, that, we've ensure that we've started it, and then somebody has to like be able to continue it for a long term. Plus, the area is a protected area, so we know that it's going to be there for a really long time. So we just have to ensure that all the trees that we're planting there are going to grow and become big in the next 50 or 10 years to go. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
sorry.
No,
yeah, I just wanted to add, I think you mentioned too, like an effective strategy for engaging specifically international students is just consistency. I know at my campus, like since we're like an American school, we have a lot of people from St. Louis come for a semester and then go back to St. Louis, and then they tell their friends at St. Louis about things that they did in Madrid. So then that can kind of get them excited to come and plant trees or participate in those kinds of similar activities. So, and then also in terms of students are busy and stuff like that, being able to offer it like at least like a wide variety of times, I think helps, so that there's just like multiple opportunities. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And we also aim to educate all these international students that this is not just limited to New Zealand. This is not just limited to Wahi. That once they come back to their country, they could do the same. In that way, it's not just in New Zealand, but it gets replicated all over the world or wherever they come from. So I think spreading the word or spreading the initiative out there would be a big contribution in general.
Yeah,
Vanessa?
so yeah, I just wanted to be conscious of the time.
Yes.
Since we're already at I think it's already past 12 a.m. in Kristin's time zone. So
Yeah.
I think the discussion about sending pictures of the trees if you're far away from where it was planted is a good segue for Anne to share what Ainsley won. Because earlier we
Yeah.
had a Kahoot game and
Yeah.
Ainsley won something.
Yes, that's right. I'm not sure if she's still in here,
She's
but
not here,
here,
but she'll watch the recording.
yeah. Oh, okay. So this is actually your prize, Ainsley. So a tree, you're gonna be getting one tree that we're gonna be planting on our next planting activity, and then we're gonna make sure to send you a picture of it with your name as well. So I hope that this one is gonna inspire you more. So yeah, just one tree for you. So congratulations, and yes, that's it from us. I would like to thank Kenny again and University of Tasmania for letting us share our little work on how to help mitigate climate change.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Kristin, and thank you, Nenie. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this session. And we hope that you can attend the remaining sessions of Canny Climate Action Week. We're going to have one in about an hour on COP28 and COP29. Okay, so everyone have a good evening, and Kristin, have a good sleep.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.